We're kicking off another week here, another exciting week here in real estate. Never a day goes by without something exciting, something new, and most importantly, something very significant going on in the real estate market. So we want you to know that the Real Estate Show, which is here and heard live 5 days a week, every day live at 5 p.m. That's Eastern time, and five different options for you to consume the Real Estate Show. You can catch us on our original AM 1470, FM 95.3, 96.9, and that's just to name a couple of the FM stations. The app that you can download for free, just download wherever you get your apps, the WWNN app. That's the easiest one. It's straight plugged pipeline right into this radio show. You can, in fact, listen to the radio station all day long with that app, but certainly remember to come back here live at 5. Then you have the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, and that's just to name a couple of the available apps there that you can then type in WWNN, for example, the call letters of the station, and then you'll listen right into the radio show. Then you've got our website, which always streams this radio show when we're live, and that's at 5. So if you go there at 5 o'clock, go to the top of the page of automaticlandlord.com, click on the Real Estate Show. Then you'll be able to listen to us live at 5. You can listen to all the recordings, all the past shows at your convenience. So if you missed today's show, you can always listen to it tomorrow up there. And when it's recorded, it goes up about 24 to 48 hours after we finish the live version. And then you can also download the podcast version of the show that you can take with you and listen to it offline. So 5 different ways to consume the show, 5 p.m., 5 days a week. And each day of the week, we start out the week with our Mondays on a mission, kind of laying down the agenda for the week. And, we're back to this very interesting and very active conversation with the eviction moratorium, which, as I mentioned on our Friday show, I should say, was it Thursday or Friday? Because the night before I got texted. And I was one of my colleagues said, "Hey, did you hear?" And I actually had seen another message come through about the CDC moratorium being struck down. So the Supreme Court came out and said, "Hey, not so fast, guys." In fact, I would say that happened faster than I expected. That they got it in front of the court in front of the Supreme Court. And they ruled that they were overstepping their boundaries, and therefore that additional moratorium, which was supposed to go on until the end of October, is no longer in effect. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit more detail in just a minute. But so Mondays we kind of lay out the path, the direction, what we're going to talk about, and what opportunities that seems to spring out. Now, we've already been working hard, and so we're going to have on Wednesday night an investors forum, and we're going to talk about some of the really cool deals that are happening right now as a result of the news that we're talking. So if you're interested in attending, it's going to be an open Zoom free meeting. I'm going to lay out a couple of the different investment vehicles that we have out there, including a nice piece of land to develop, including some notes, including some really cool investment properties, some cash flow properties. And that's going to be on our meeting on Wednesday night. It'll be on Zoom. So all you have to do is text the word investor now, because we're going to be updating what that does. So you text it to our Real Estate Show Smart Line at 561-861-2366. That's 561-861-2366. And then from today forward, anyone who texts investor, INVESTOR, to that smart line, the 561-861-2366. I'll probably put it into the chat here during the break. But then we will send you the Zoom link for that upcoming meeting, which will be on Wednesday at 8 p.m. So good stuff, great stuff. If you're looking at getting, double-digit returns in today's marketplace safely, then you'll definitely want to tune in and check out that investor forum. So also, why not stop by at automaticlandlord.com? We've completely revamped the page. It's a brand new page. If you were there, as recently as the beginning of the month, I will tell you that you won't recognize the site, and it's still one of the best ways to come contact us, communicate with us, and we've got more stuff coming on that we're going to be adding to the website. So make sure you make that at least a stop once a week, if not once a day, when you listen to our show, the live show that streams there. Anyway, as I was saying, the the moratorium now was, even if it had expired, because we talked about that at the end of last month, had it expired at the end of July, then it would have been still protected in certain states. And we listed those 10 states, I think it was 2 weeks ago, where we really focused on that. And the interesting thing about all of that, and I'm going to try to see if I can't get to that article. I'm going to pull that up in just a second. But those 10 states obviously are now very important, because we started talking about that. Then right after that, the CDC implemented their moratorium, which would have superseded, or it would have protected everybody in all 50 states, so you didn't have to look into it. So it's probably very important. And so for the folks out there that are in the renter's position, and I know most people who listen to this radio show are actually homeowners and they are investors. But if there's any renters out there, you want to text the word credit, because what you want to protect now that the moratorium is lifted, you can rest assured, or not rest assured, that the landlords are going to now go for getting paid again, and they want to convert those properties ASAP. So what you don't want to do is not only be in a position of a weak point of negotiation, but also have your credit adversely affected. And if you're a landlord and you don't know what I'm talking about, if you want to be able to report credit onto the credit report, the credit bureaus, then you definitely want to contact us as well. And you can do that at Automatic Landlord, or type the word landlord to 561-861-2366. Anyway, like I said, and now it's going to be in certain locations, and you're going to want to know, because renters are still protected from eviction in those. It was 10 states. We're reviewing that now and see if there's going to be any more that might get added onto there. Right? It depends if the governor or whoever, whatever body there that might offer some relief there, either at the city, county, or state level. So that's one thing we're going to be talking about, and we'll talk about that in the face of pending home sales. We saw a little bit of a pullback. Now, the headlines, if it's funny, these three headlines, I know that they're quoting the same statistics released by the National Association of Realtors, but in one place they said pending home sales fell 1.8% in July. They had risen in June. And of course, the later you get into the summer, the more people who are going to move for school reasons have already. But the interesting part about that, so there's a natural tapering off in the summer, and of course a much lower pace in the winter. But what we saw here was a little bit bigger drop in there. Now, there was another article, again, same data. I'm telling you, this article is really talking about the same data, which says signs of a slowdown in the housing market, big question mark. Same data. And then a third headline, it's kind of like three versions of the same story, which kind of has become the American way, right? Here we are, we're all Americans. And then you've got the left story, you've got the right story, and then you've got somewhere in the middle what probably is the reality. But here it is, the reality of this data. Home buyers sign fewer contracts in July as higher prices chill the summer market. So this is what we've been talking about, right? We've been talking about that if we have a slowdown in sales or a slowdown in the rise of prices, that's not a negative thing. That's a good thing. And we're going to talk about that even in more detail on our Thursday night investors forum. And so this is the interesting thing that's going on here. We've seen some signs of moderation, which is good. I was looking parallel to that at the stock market numbers, all positive. And in spite, think about that. We just had a major hurricane hit Louisiana. Not good news. And my prayers go out to all those folks out there. As a Floridian, that we sympathize very much with Texas, Louisiana, and North Carolina. Sometimes we know what it's like to get hit hard by a hurricane, and it's not good. It's not fun, and it's not easy, and especially in states like Louisiana that don't have the same kind of financial machinery that a state like Florida has or Texas has. And so it's going to be tougher for them. Now, luckily, they did avert a hit as strong as or as damaging as Katrina, but from a power down and not the same type of flooding, thank goodness. Didn't have the same failures of the levees, thank goodness. But still a lot of wind damage, a lot of power lines and things down. So even if they could turn the power back on, they're not connected to anything. So it's going to be a lot of reconstruction at the utility and infrastructure level. And of course, we have yet to see what the real aftermath is. And by the way, a lot of the fatalities, most of the fatalities come after the storm, not necessarily during the storm, from, live power lines, fallen trees, and things like that. So another thing that we're going to talk about later on this week is the whole concept of inflation in the rental market. And this is good news, bad news too, right? Bad news for the tenant for sure. Good news for the landlord. Now imagine if you had finance with fixed rate mortgages and now you're able to, thanks to the competitive market that there is, that you are now able to raise your rents. Of course, that goes mostly to the bottom line when you have that kind of a scenario. So tough times for landlords over the last 18 months, good times ahead. Again, that's why you want to register for our upcoming investor forum on Wednesday. And how do you do that? You text the word investor to 561-861-2366. Once again, that's 561-861-2366. And we'll be sure to get you the link and an invitation to that Wednesday night Zoom online free meeting that's coming up this coming Wednesday. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break here. A few words from our sponsor. When we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit more about what's going on in the rental and moratorium market, what some of the options are, when we're going to talk more about what you can do if you're a renter this week, and sort of continue our agenda for the remainder of this week. So don't touch that dial. You're listening to The Real Estate Show. My name is Eric Willner, and I'll be right back. Jose, how are you? Susanna, yeah, it is. It's going to be very, very cool. You're going to like that. So make sure you register for that. Let's see here. I'm going to put in there text investor to 561 400 8892. Oh no, that's That's funny. That would work, but it's not what I want you to do. 863 2366. It's getting to the point where you have just as many phone numbers as you have email addresses, which is too many. There you go. Fun times. Fun times. Thanks, Susanna. Sounds good. And welcome back. For those of you just joining us here on the Real Estate Show, South Florida's #1 program about real estate, America's longest running radio show about real estate. And I'll tell you, we are in some fun times. And if you listen to our Friday show, a very cool show. We did it from a remote location. We were talking about the disruption that's going on in the marketplace. And as I kind of chose the theme for Friday was disruption creates opportunity. Now, understand, and it's very important, disruption creates opportunity. And the reason why I wanted to emphasize those things, first of all, there's no question that we're in a very disruptive period right now between the stop and go of the government with the moratoriums, between the stop and go of the virus itself, between the white hot real estate market, which is now it's created its own additional problems. Right, we had a supply issue, which now creates a price and affordability issue, and within all of that, it creates certain opportunities. And so we are now on the hunt, and we are very busy right now uncovering some of those opportunities. And we got some really neat ones and good ones of all sizes, from investments that you can get into for, you know, $20,000 to $50,000 to investments that you can get into for $100,000 to $1 million. We're talking about large plots of land for development, which right now is exactly what's needed, is more inventory. And so we're on top of an opportunity that might come at a very interesting discount at just the right time for the right team of developers and investors. We've got another situation, another discounted, in fact, a number of properties. And this is always funny because I get almost a surprised response when I hear the question about, is it true that we have discounted properties when we were just listening to a bidding war happening on all properties? But there's a couple of things you have to keep in mind. Number one, the bidding wars are happening to the properties on the MLS. And here's some interesting math that you might want to consider when you're rationalizing all of what's going on. If it's true, and of course it is, because that's what people have been documenting for many, many years, that the average homeowner moves approximately every 5 to 7 years. During hard times, it tends to extend a little bit longer. But let's just go with the every 7 years statistic that we have come to know over the years. Well, one every 7 years is, or 1/7 of the population, that means, is in flux any given year, at least 1/7, right? So 1/7 is the equivalent of 14%. So that means 14% of the marketplace is in flux, meaning that they're either getting ready to sell, they're on the market to sell, they're under contract, or they're just transferring right across by other means. So 14%. Now, even when the market was in the doldrums, and people were buying, everything was for sale because everybody wanted to get out. uh, we saw that on the MLS was about 3% of the market. So think about that, that if 3% is on the MLS at any given time, but 14% of all of the properties are, transitioning. Maybe they're person to person sales, maybe they're foreclosures. None of those go through the MLS. Those are simply acquisitions. Same thing with a lot of other types of transitions, estate transfers and things like that. So you've got more properties off the MLS, but the MLS are the ones that are well documented and, quite frankly, a good cross section to show you, so you kind of know what's going on. But if it doesn't get listed by a real estate agent and sold on the MLS, it's not part of that world. And so you've got all of the people, and right now it seems like it's everybody chasing properties, and they're chasing that 14% of properties, but only about 2 to 3% of that is on the MLS. That is why you have these bidding wars. Now, if you are good at finding properties off of the MLS, then you have two distinct advantages. Number one is that you're not competing with seven other people looking at that property on the same day, and six of them are going to make an offer on there, and five of them, or statistically, they say right now we're at about 35% of all deals are cash deals. So out of those six that make offers, that means that probably two of them are cash offers, and so it becomes very competitive, very difficult to compete, and so that's why you're seeing this frustration. So the good thing about that right now, for example, as you get later in the summer and people had to have made their decisions, whether it be for work commutes, school commutes, or school districting and so forth, you're seeing the number tapering down. And let me just tell you, that's a good thing all the way around. It's good for the health of the market. It's good for the competition in the market. And it's even better for those people who are trying to buy, whether it be home buyers or investors. So that's all good news. Now, again, as I said, if you don't have all of that competition, you also don't have that price pressure that pushes the prices up. So we moderate, and it is a more sustainable, more long-term, more realistic marketplace. And that's good for the long run, because we would much rather have a lower rate of increase that is healthy and sustainable versus high spikes, big peaks and deep valleys. And that's what we see coming through. The demand, we've talked about that many times, and why we believe the demand is going to stay strong. And so the trick right now, the real leverage in this marketplace now, is being able to find off market deals, not on the MLS, and then take advantage of locking those in. And that's why we're having this investor forum. We said, you know what, the time has come. It is time for us to start getting together and trade baseball cards, if you will. We're going to talk more about how to find the deals, where to find the deals, and then what to be able to offer in this marketplace, so you don't absolutely blow it. Because if we have less competition from buyers on the MLS, and you have less, other folks that aren't being even over promised by over enthusiastic realtors that you can get all this money, and that causes people to hold on to properties longer. And in some cases now, we're starting to see the days on the market go longer, and especially for folks who have a higher level of motivation or a specific time frame, then price becomes less important, and time or terms or just moving on becomes the driver, and makes more deals get done. So last time, text the word investor to 561-861-2366 if you want to attend our investor forum on Wednesday. If you're a tenant out there and you're wondering what the heck to do, text the word credit to the same number, 561 861-2366. Well, that's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow with our tools, tips, and techniques, and we got a good one for you there. So join us then again, same time, same place, tomorrow, 5 p.m. Until then, this is your host, Eric Willner, signing off. Drive safe, wash those hands, and make it a great day. Bye-bye. Yes, you will. Thank you.